With the recent swell of Black Lives Matter protests, COVID still on the rise, political instability in South Africa, and whatever this is.
Sinkhole, which opened up on a New Zealand farm early last week, is being called a spectacular development by geologists. That is because this enormous cavern that appeared in the ground exposed volcanic rock that is nearly 60,000 years old.
This year has shown us that it has too many tricks up its sleeve and is determined to show us all of them by 2021. And that's if we're all alive by then. Welcome to the venting space. "2020 has been one hell of a ride. The only thing that scares me more than the past 6 months is the fact that there's 6 more months to go. This year seems to be leaning towards the Murphy's Law in the sense that everything that could go wrong kind of has."
During the COVID-19 lockdowns, reports indicated there's been an increase in rape and violence against women and children.
Ah, yes. Babcele's favorites. Domestic violence. And like an itch you cannot scratch, you kind of let it go and pretend like it's not there. But it's there. And you know it's there.
According to ENCA, more than 120,000 victims rang the national helpline for abused women and children in the first 3 weeks of lockdown.
120,000 in 3 weeks. What the actual fuck, Bazalwani? Not even coronavirus rose that fast in this country.
News sources claim that the number of gender-based violence cases has risen up to the estimates of 500% since the start of the COVID lockdown.
The only thing that should be rising by 500% is my salary on the show. Oh wait, I don't get paid for this show. Turns out all the men ran out of things to do, got frustrated, started swinging. Sorry. But on a serious note though, imagine being in lockdown, being shit scared of this deadly virus that you know very little about, while simultaneously being afraid of the person that you're living with. This may sound super weird, but this is a reality for many of the women that are living in South Africa. Hundreds and thousands to be exact. Shahida Omar, head of the Teddy Bay Clinic for Abused Children, stated that families who are living in overcrowded township houses are being hit the hardest. Well, no shit. She has also cited that the loss of jobs and financial insecurity as some of the primary reasons that may have led to the rise of domestic violence during lockdown. She also mentions that the inability to freely go outside can also be the major contributing factor that has increased tensions amongst households. Then she goes on to describe the results of this predicament as volcanic explosion. Men are so violent that we have to reference them as literal volcanoes just to understand what the fuck is going up in their heads. And throughout this entire thing, this is what makes it worse.
More than 12,000 women, double the usual number, have reported similar cases of domestic abuse in South Africa in the past few weeks. Experts attribute the sudden increase to women living in the same house all day long with their abusive partners during coronavirus lockdown.
Yep, another thing coronavirus has ruined. And because of the lockdown, not only has this increased the cases of domestic violence in South Africa, it has made it extremely difficult for women who have experienced abuse or victims of abuse to seek help and asylum. Many people have pointed out the very clear fact that victims who are able to break free would still be unable to travel due to the restrictions that have been put because of the lockdown. And because of this, they'd still need to apply for a permit first before having to travel, which leads to many complications. The lockdown not only has made it easier for men to abuse women, but it has made it even harder for women to escape.
For years, South Africa has been grappling with a gender-based violence crisis. Now, women's rights organizations are concerned that the current lockdown will only exacerbate the issue. Tensions are likely to rise as people face job losses and income uncertainty.
This pandemic has been emotionally, psychologically, and financially taxing. The coronavirus is one phenomenon that we never saw coming and for which we could never prepare. However, It is absolutely disgusting to even attempt to put the blame on the lockdown for any violence of any kind. Considering the fact that before the lockdown, according to news sources, a woman was killed every 3 hours in South Africa, a rate that is 5 times higher than the world average. Think about that. And don't want to shock you. These are the rates, these are the crime, these are the rape charges that people know of, that have been reported of, meaning that there's a lot more out there. This lockdown did not cause domestic and gender-based violence. It only accentuated the toxicity that was present in our society. A seemingly deep-rooted yearning for violence, which men express on a daily by treating women and children like they're punching bags. If you are a woman living in constant fear, or anyone for that matter, and you feel like seeking assistance from police is whack, please do not be scared to call any of these numbers below. And men, kings, or about gents, do better. Do better. And finally, I would like to end with this quote that says, "Home is a sanctuary for every individual, and if I am driven out of it, then I have nowhere else to go. The concept of home merely becomes an empty rhetoric." Thank you. Hi, my name is MP, and welcome to the venting space. Oh my gosh. Why didn't anyone tell me that I was this cute? Oh my God.